Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the video notes for Chapter 4, Lesson 3, which is solving quadratic equations by factoring. This is a relatively long lesson. This video series will consist of 5 different videos. I will cover each individual topic within the notes as its own separate video. So we're starting off here with the zero product property. The zero product property says that if I have multiple items being multiplied together to equal 0, such as A times B times C equals 0, one of these items has to be a 0. Either A is 0, B is 0, or C is 0. In other words, when I multiply things together and get a result of 0, one of those factors must be equal to 0. So, here in example 1, when it says use the zero product property to solve, what we're going to do in each of these equations is we're going to split these quadratics up into linear factors being set equal to 0. So either x minus 2 equals 0 or 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. Then we would solve each of those equations individually. So first equation there, we would add 2 to each side, which would give us the answer x equals 2. Second equation, we would add 1 to each side, which would give us 4x equals 1. And then we would divide each side by 4 to get x equals 1/4. So our solutions would be x equals 2 or x equals 1/4. On letter B, we would take the 7x, set it equal to 0, or the x minus 3, and set it equal to 0. In both cases, these are one-step equations. 0 divided by 7 is 0. And on the other one, we would add 3 to each side. 0 plus 3 would give us an answer of 3. Okay, on letter C, actually, before I do letter C and D, why don't you pause the video and try letter C and D on your own, and then resume the video and see how you did. So on letter C, we would say 3x plus 1 is equal to 0, or x minus 9 is equal to 0. Here we would subtract 1 from each side and then divide by 3 to give us negative 1/3 for our first answer. Here we would add 9 to each side, which would give us x equals 9. I'll show my work as well. So here I would add 9, that solves for x. Here I would subtract 1 and then divide by 3. Okay, on letter D, same idea. We're going to say negative 2x equals 0. Or x minus 7 equals 0. So again, that would mean that the first equation we would divide each side by negative 2. The second equation we would add 7 to each side. And we would end up with x equals 0 or x equals 7. So that's the zero product property. Okay, so E and F are examples of SAT-style questions based on the zero product property. Example E says the function f is defined below, which the following is not an x-intercept of the graph of the function in the xy plane. Well, when we see the word x-intercept, we are supposed to think of several other words. Those other words are solution, 0, or root. All 4 of those words mean the same thing. In other words, we are supposed to figure out when f of x is equal to 0. So that would require the zero product property, because essentially we're setting x plus 7 times x minus 2 times 2x plus 3 equal to 0, which means we have 3 possible answers. X plus 7 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, or 2x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, so, sorry about that fire alarm there in the middle of the video, by the way. Each of those would get solved for x. 2 of those are one-step equations. The third is a 2-step equation. So our first 2 solutions are x equals negative 7 and x equals positive 2. And then we have 2x equals 3, which we would then divide by 2. And that would give us x equals positive 3/2. So our 3 solutions are x equals negative 7, x equals positive 2, and x equals positive 3/2, which means that B is the one that is not an x-intercept of the graph of f. Okay, letter F says what is the product of the solutions of the given equation below? We have x minus 5 equals 0, x plus 7 equals 0, and x minus 1 equals 0. So our three solutions are 5, negative 7, because we subtract 7 from each side, and positive 1, because we would add 1 to each side. So the word product means that we should be multiplying those three numbers together. 5 times negative 7 times 1 is negative 35. That does it for our zero product property video, I think. Yes, it does. Our next video will cover factoring out the GCF. Thank you for your time and attention.